the storm passed and we were making our way into the nearest marina, which was Arbatax on the east coast of Sardinia. We knew there was something wrong with the electronics and we presumed the sail was damaged, but we couldn't tell anything for sure until we assessed the damage properly the next day.
So it's the morning after the day before. Chelsea is in a little bit of a mess. It's not pretty.
So this is how we managed to get them lashed down in the end. The sail bags it's everywhere really.
We're going to try and raise the mainsail. The halyard is caught around what's it called?
Radar reflector.
Radar reflector. So we need to unhook that and then we can raise the main and try and get the sail bag back up and actually see what damage we've done.
Nah, we're going to have to go up.
Ryan went up the mast to unhook our main halyard from the radar reflector. He also had a quick look at the rigging to see if there was any noticeable damage. We could raise the sail up to about this point, but it was getting stuck as it was going up and down, so we knew something was wrong with the runners. Runners, also known as sail slugs or sail slides, should move freely up and down the mast when raising or dropping the sail. The actual sail looked pretty good. There was a few tears, but nothing too major. So we're just assessing the damage of the sail. Let's have a look. So it's worn through all of the battens. And you can see that is from the batten because it's all marked. That is a bit of a slit.
This is like when you was at school and you had the parachutes.
What do you mean when I was at school? It's my job. This is a Friday afternoon. Yeah, I mean there's bits that are worn. We've got the surveyor coming today. He should be here in a couple of hours, which is good. Although he's coming to look at the mainsail and this is the weather, which is typical. Pretty strong winds today. I think we've had up to about 25 knots already, so yeah, we'll see. Oh, Ryan's just said 26, so yeah, we'll see what the surveyor can actually look at. We started showing the surveyor the runners which were jamming on the mast, but when we all looked closer, we found a screw in the mast that was causing the problems. This was amazing news as it meant the runners are fine, but we just have to try and work out where the screw came from. The surveyor confirmed we needed 2 new blocks. These have a lot of pressure on them from the lines, so we can't risk sailing with them cracked like this. One's for our light wind sail, and this one is for our reef line. These are the rivets that attach the boom to the mast. They're supposed to be solid, and these ones are now loose. So the surveyor has said we've got to get those redone. We really don't want the boom falling off. Although the tears in the mainsail are minor, the surveyor advised us to get it checked and repaired by a sailmaker so the tears don't get worse when we're sailing in future. The biggest and most annoying bit of damage from the storm is our electronics. The surveyor didn't think we'd been hit by lightning because there were no burn marks on the boat, but he said it would have struck very close to the boat and induced a massive current in our electrical circuit, which basically fried everything. The chart plotter and the repeater at the chart table downstairs, which we use to view charts and plan our passage, our wind, depth and speed instruments, our autopilot, which automatically steers the boat for us, and our radar, all of which have repeaters downstairs. There is no way to repair these, so we need a full replacement, and because a lot of the wiring is underneath the boat, Chelsea needs to be lifted out of the water for around a week.
So after the storm, I wanted to do a little bit of research to find out what actually happened and if we really were in danger. So I started off looking at the Beaufort scale, which measures wind speed. So the highest speed that we saw was about 63 knots, which equates to around, I've got my notes here, 73 miles an hour and 117 kilometers an hour. Now on the Beaufort scale, that's around a force 11, which is quite crazy, and it's classified as a violent storm. Now on average, we had between about 50 and 55 knots. The 63 was kind of the top level. So this is still classed as a whole gale, but the difference is, and why I think we can't really rely on this scale, is with those forces of wind, you're expected to have between 9 and 13 meter waves. We didn't have that, we only had 3. So I don't think we can 100% rely on this scale to define what weather we actually went through. So then I started looking at tornadoes, and I found out that the only difference between a tornado and a waterspout is that a waterspout is over water. It's basically a tornado over water, and a tornado only occurs over land. Now there are 3 types of waterspouts. One is a snow spout, which involves snow and ice, so we didn't have that. Another one is a non-tornadic waterspout, which usually occurs in coastal waters. It normally only lasts about 20 minutes and the wind doesn't get above 63 miles an hour. And the last type of waterspout is a tornadic waterspout, which are waterspouts connected to severe thunderstorms. So with this knowledge, because we had higher wind speeds, it lasted much longer than 20 minutes, and we had a pretty major thunderstorm going on at the same time, I think that we were in a tornadic waterspout, which is pretty cool. Interesting little fact, in the 18th and 19th century, sailors genuinely believed that if you shot a cannon into a waterspout, it would disperse and you would survive. So I think that is a myth, but Ryan wanted to get a cannon on board, so I think this gives him a little bit more incentive to do it. Maybe we can get one now. So were we actually in any real danger? Well, when it was all going on and the boat was literally on its side, it really did feel like we were going to roll. But I've done quite a lot of research, and it turns out that it's really difficult to capsize a sailboat. With the wind that we had, it is possible, but you have to also have quite big waves. So the wind can push the boat over onto its side. If you go beam onto the swell, so the swell's not coming from behind the boat, it's coming from the side, and you get a big wave, it could go over the boat and push the boat all the way around, and that is when you roll. But with the 3 meter waves that we had, it would have been unlikely for us to actually capsize. So we weren't in danger of that, which is amazing, even though it really did feel like we were. But we were in danger of, first of all, getting thrown off the boat because the boat was going absolutely everywhere and the wind was so strong. And if that would have happened, we would have never found the person. So we immediately put our life jackets on and we clipped on, so we were safe. Poppy was already downstairs, so we shut the hatch so that she was safe and no water could get into the boat. So with regards to that danger, it was a real possibility, but we did the right things to make sure that we were safe. And the other real danger was because the mainsail was out of control and banging against the rigging, it could have meant that something would have broken and fallen and injured us that way. So for example, with the sail banging on that amount of pressure on our rigging, the rigging should be strong enough to withstand that, but you just never know. And if the rigging would have failed or something would have snapped or broken, that would have been really bad. The main sheet that controls the boom, if that had snapped, the boom would have then been free to flap around everywhere, which would have been really dangerous. So when the wind was really strong, that was a possibility, but as soon as the wind died down slightly, Ryan got on deck and strapped the mainsail down, which secured that and kind of eliminated the risk of that causing something to break, which could have then caused an injury to us. So overall, it was pretty mad weather conditions. It wasn't the norm, and it was really scary, but it hasn't put us off at all. If anything, it's made me more confident after doing this research, because I didn't realise how difficult it was to capsize a sailboat. I'm not going to get cocky, obviously, but it has put my mind at ease a little bit, really. We're really pleased that none of us got hurt. Chelsea is damaged, but not damaged beyond repair. It is going to be a bit of a long, frustrating journey to get her back to normal, but it's been a really eye-opening experience, relatively positive. So yeah, no stress.